I emailed Miss Flaster just to let you know, Jennifer.
Hold on one moment. All right, and we're ready to start when you are.
Okay, the time is now 4:02. I'd like to call License Committee meeting to order. And as customary, the last boss head for silence, please. Thank you. Let's all remember council member seeking in his time of sorrow at this time. His mother passed away. So we send our condolences to him and his family. So we'll move on down to September 28th, 2023 minutes. Do we have a motion? If everyone had,
Second.
okay, it was moving second. All in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. Ayes have it. We move on down. We have no old business. We have one item under new business, and this is a presentation of the late night establishment progress report. So who's going to be doing that?
Hey, good afternoon, council member, me.
All right.
All right. I'm going to share my screen. All righty, we can see this okay?
Yes.
Fantastic, thanks. All right, so I'm Christina Auth. I'm the Business Services Manager in the Economic and Neighborhood Services Division, and I'm here to present our annual progress report on the late night establishment permit. We also work on the LNE's, it's very cross-departmental permit process. We work with the Charleston Police Department, Fire Marshal Division, Legal Department, and Revenue Collections to make sure these folks are in compliance. So just as a refresher, move this, of the timeline and where we are, we recently updated our L&E ordinance back in December 2022. This is the first update in over 10 years, and we got a lot of feedback from the restaurant, bar, late night community on how to propose this new ordinance, what restrictions and protocols to put in place to help make our late night folks successful and be able to have enough tools in the ordinance to hold any of the bad actors accountable. So again, that new ordinance became effective in December 2022. By February 2023, all existing businesses were supposed to come into compliance with the new ordinance. We were kind of starting to get our ducks in a row of putting in the new permit into the city's customer self-service portal, as well as figuring out some of the workflows to review that. So we did allow for a grace period to review those L&E permits and get folks into compliance. And by this summer, which should be ending in a few weeks, in 2024 here, we do expect that all applicable establishments will have active L&E permits with us. And then starting in February of next year in 2025, our renewals for these L&E permits will begin because this is a 2-year permit. Again, I'm here to help present an annual report. This is a part of the ordinance that we will share any annual findings or recommendations on the activities of late night establishments. So just as a refresher of the L&E permit process and who falls within it, any late night establishment is a bar, restaurant, venue, or a commercial establishment that currently allows on-premise consumption of beer, wine, or alcohol and remains open after midnight. And as a new business opening, if you are located within 500 feet of a residential zoning district, you will have to go through a late night use special exemption. That does require going to the Board of Zoning Appeals. If you do not fall in within that 500 feet threshold, you can immediately go to apply for your late night entertainment permit and your business license certificate of occupancy. You can apply for both of those at the same time, but the L&E permit does require that your BLCO is approved and active before they can finalize and complete that permit. And once approved, you are open for late night business. So what our current late night entertainment permit application entails, again, this is entirely through the city's customer self-service portal. So folks apply for it online. It is an operational permit, and it requires some contact information from property owners, business owners, management staff, and any other emergency contacts. The police department provides a security and management plan template so that folks can kind of fill in their days and hours of operation, any major special events, how they're going to do crowd control, as well as how they plan to prevent underage drinking. Then the Fire Marshal Division provides a fire safety and emergency action template. This is to kind of help share any emergency action plans, if there's an active shooter or fire, severe weather emergency, those sorts of things. There's a template in there that businesses can complete. Then the application does require a detailed site plan, floor plan, and again, a copy of that active business license and certificate of occupancy application. Once all of that is submitted into CSS, the businesses will schedule and go through an inspection with the fire marshal, and then they will pay and receive their permit. So where we're at today, we have a total of 75 active permits that are closed out and have all of their paperwork in place. We do have 3 pending pre-inspections right now. Some of those are for different circumstances. One I think is still waiting on the police department to finish their review. We have another one I think that was undergoing some different permitted work, some alterations to their space. We're waiting for those permits to close out for the fire marshal to complete a final inspection. And I believe the third one was just some incomplete information in their initial permit application. So we do, again, have a total of 75 active. And again, that renewals process will begin in February of 2025. Not everyone came into compliance or applied for the L&E permit at the same time. So we will kind of have a rolling renewal process where we'll be reaching out to kind of a handful of folks each month to make sure we get any updated information, any updated site plans to keep them in compliance for another 2 years. So, and speaking of compliance, some of the things that we went through this year in February and March of 2024, our legal department actually sent over a dozen letters to different establishments to encourage them to apply for the L&E permit if they hadn't already. The fire marshal also conducted different door-to-door outreach to businesses in multiple commercial corridors. They initially identified about 15 businesses that were needing to apply, and they were notified by the Fire Marshal Division to get into compliance. Since that time, we've only had 1 non-compliant business that received a citation and a closure before midnight notice. And I think I do have someone from the legal team or the Fire Marshal Division if they want to kind of hop on and talk about that one violation, because I was actually not present for the remediation meeting.
That citation and livability. Y'all hear me?
Oh,
Yes,
yes.
go ahead.
Thanks, Katie.
Sure. I prosecuted that citation in livability court. They did enter a guilty plea, and they were given a suspension on their fine, so they didn't have to pay a fine if they don't have any more violations for the next 1 year.
That's it.
That's it. This is a 3-strike ordinance, and so this would be a strike under that ordinance.
Okay.
So for future violations for them.
So after a 3 strike, then would the license be revoked? They'll give it long.
I believe so. Christina, can you answer that? What happens after the 3rd strike?
Sure. The late night permit gets revoked.
Right.
So they're not able to serve folks after midnight or
After
stay
midnight.
open past midnight.
After midnight. Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you.
Of course.
Anyone have any other questions before she go on? You can proceed. Go ahead.
Sure. Then this is the last slide as well. Again, up next, kind of our biggest next step is the renewal process. Again, the late night establishment permit is issued for a duration of 2 years. We do have it written in the ordinance that renewal applications must be submitted up to 90 days, but no less than 30 days before that expiration date. So staff have enough time to review, process, contact folks if they need to make any corrections. And then for this renewal season, any LNE is eligible to complete the renewal request as long as basically no information has changed. If their facility ownership, occupancy, configuration, occupancy load, if all of that is staying the same, they should be able to kind of quickly go through that renewal process. And then also the LNE permit is not transferable to any new ownership or new location. So if a bar physically moves from downtown to another part of West Ashley or something, they'll have to go through the LNE permit process again, or again, if it gets transferred to new ownership. So thank you very much. Any questions about anything?
Does anyone have any questions? Anyone? No questions?
Nope.
No questions? Okay.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. And I'm sure our team will get together to discuss soon how we're going to handle that renewal outreach and those updates. So we will let y'all know.
All right. No one else. Anyone have anything else to bring before the committee? Well,
You run a short meeting.
it's all over. Well,
That
thank you.
makes sense.
We adjourn.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you.